welcome to Perimenopausal Athletes and Beyond. We are on day one here, and I have an amazing guest, Samantha. I'm going to pronounce your last name wrong. Amompati Kuhn.
Yeah. No, it's everybody does that. Just think of win, think of W-I-N, and put an H in front of it.
Quinn.
There you go.
Samantha Amompati Quinn. It's perfect. And we want to bring something to you right away in this whole summit, and it's something really important. When I asked Samantha to come on board as an expert, and I'm going to tell you about her in a little bit, she emailed back, she saw the speakers, and she said, absolutely, I'd love to be an expert. And did you notice I'm the only person of color? And I had, yeah. And we just wanted to just bring that into the room and bring that right forward, because it's something that needs to be addressed. It's something that needs to change. And we are wanting to be part of that change. I want to be part of that change. And Samantha is gracious and willing to be in the conversation with me and with all of us on it. So I want to just open it up to you first, Samantha, and just tell us a little bit about what you see within the industry and why it was that I really struggled to find experts that were more representative of all the women that need to take, training, nutrition, mindset, recovery, female physiology, perimenopause into consideration.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me to be a part of this. I'm very, very excited. And I do appreciate how open you were when I sent you that email, because as much as, white people are learning a lot, especially since last year and, the Black Lives Movement and all of this that happened, even for me, because I am a woman of color, but I'm half white. So I'm also learning during this process. Necessarily, if I would have put up as quickly as I did a few years ago, because I've always been used to being the sole Black person in the very white, Jewish neighborhood. All my friends were white until I quit high school and I started to party, and I was like, oh, I found my people. So it's interesting how when I saw the speakers list, when you sent it to me, I said, okay, I could tell how passionate you were about this topic, absolutely, and that you were doing a virtual event. So being a virtual event, obviously it's open to everybody, and you want everybody to be able to take advantage. So then I thought, but wait a second though, if people don't see, if it's open to everybody and they don't see everybody being represented, I can see them thinking, well, wait a second, that's not for me, because they won't understand this because of me, and they won't understand this because of me and my culture and all of the things. And especially in the fitness industry, this year I was asked to be on the advisory board at CanFit Pro. And I've really noticed a shift, because I started talking very loudly about it, that not even just people of color and Indigenous people, but even body diversity, right? Fitness doesn't have to look a certain way. It doesn't have to be 10 or 15% body fat. It doesn't have to be a six pack. You can have fitness. And if we're trying to appeal to the masses and try to make sure that everybody is active, we also have to show representation. And so what I really love about CanFit Pro, and I'm sure and other people are starting to change, is we are seeing different bodies. Why can't we also, show representation of people in their journey? Why does it have to be always the end goal that you have to be like this and look like this? And something that I said was, if you Google, and maybe Google now has listened to my rants on Facebook, if you Google fitness, you will see a white blonde person in a bikini. That is fitness. So if people think they've got to be fit, but they've got to be like that, they're going to give it, okay, well then obviously I can't be fit, right? So I do appreciate that, and that you were open to this. And it is hard, because what I was also saying to you before you hit record was that if you're looking for a person of color who's been in the fitness industry for as long as I have, it's been now 20 years, it's going to be difficult. Because I know a few I know a lot more that are maybe in their 30s and 20s. So we're seeing a lot more, which is awesome. So the next generation is going to be even more diverse. But if you're looking for somebody with years and years of experience who's not white and a man, it's going to be difficult. It's really, really hard, and it sucks. But it just validates that, you know, we have to change. And you know, more people who are listening to this, if you know somebody, you know, reach out to them and introduce them to Tennille when her next event is here, because she's not stopping anytime soon, right? We all know that this virtual world is not going anywhere anytime soon. Even if everything goes back to normal, people are going to like this online space. So I think it's really important.
Well, I appreciate it so much. And you're right. I am committed, and I am so glad that you are, you know, that we've connected, and that we are going to find those voices and bring those voices out so that we can show that and show the representation. I did want to just spend a couple of minutes, because it's missing in the overall summit, of what are some of the differences for people of color, Indigenous people, in terms of perimenopause, and what those experiences are vis-a-vis like the white experience, which we really hear more of. And I see it in the Facebook groups that I'm part of, and it echoes back to me. But that's not what is experienced by all of us. So first, I just want to say the experiences of women, the experience of people of color, Indigenous people, are as varied and diverse as, like, it is just all very different. So what every single person experiences is extremely different than another. And while we look at averages, we will say the average age of reaching menopause, menopause, so that's 1 year of finishing your last period, is 51. That may be very different for you, the listener, you know, no matter what color or, you know, whatever you might be. Now, what they do show is, on average, Black and Latina women reach menopause a bit earlier, 2 years earlier on average. And so we start to have that difference. Further than that, we start to see that the experiences of Black or people of color, and Latina, are also more intense. Much more intense. They start earlier, they have longer transitions, and it's sometimes harder. Now, what that means is that level of estrogen is starting to come down, and it's really high, you know, woo, like the high estrogen, low estrogen at an earlier age. That means the impacts on health can be that much more. What that means then is that we need to work and support women, and particularly women of color, to get the information so they are empowered to make the changes that they need to make, because it's going to hit earlier. The focus of this summit is 35 plus, because you might have early onset. And that is not an accident. It's that we need to actually take action much earlier.
Yeah. And I would love to just say something on that point.
Yeah.
I had a hysterectomy 8 years ago. I'm 50. I had a hysterectomy at 42 because I had dealt with fibroids since I was 25. I had a myomectomy, so I had the fibroids removed from my uterus, like by an incision, when I was 25, because they were so bad, because my periods were so horrible. Then I ended up having two babies, and then the fibroids, because they're all hormonally connected and growing, they got larger. And so the whole time, my uterus was the size of a 5-month pregnant woman. So when I had my uterus removed, it was very much like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? And the first thing my doctor was like, hello, welcome to being Black. And I was like, but I'm only half Black. So like, wait a second.
Where's this other part?
Wait a second. Why? So I got like, So, but I'd have to say though, at least I was privileged enough to have a really good, strong support team. I went and saw a naturopath. I had a whole hormone panel done. I'm 50, going on 51. I've had nary a hot, like a hot flash. I'm good because I've been able to manage with supplements and changing my lifestyle. But absolutely, and a lot of my friends who are Black deal with endometriosis, fibroids, all of these things that people don't talk about. And it's very much an issue. And it doesn't even just impact performance. It impacts your sex life. It impacts your confidence. It impacts so many things. And yeah, so I love the fact that you really want to make this, important that everybody understand and learn.
Yeah, it is really, really important. And I guess I also want to acknowledge the Indigenous peoples, particularly because within Canada, it's really, really important, as it would be everywhere. And to recognize a couple of things. One, there's so little research. Like if we just talk about, we constantly are like, there's so little research on women, there's so little research on women and female athletes, and just times that by, 1,000. And when we start thinking about Indigenous people as well and understanding their experience. And but we do know for them, it's the experience is very varied, and it depends on which study you're looking at of small populations. It kind of either has higher hot flashes or lower hot flashes, so there wasn't consensus necessarily there. Where the Indigenous population was, what's interesting is that they already take a very holistic view, a worldview of their health, meaning mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. So while we often, the first thing we do when we come into conversation about perimenopause, it's about the hot flash, right? It's about our bone density.
And it's about the medication. Yeah,
and it's
about the medication.
Exactly. So this is one of the changes that we can learn a lot from our, the elders that we have within our communities. And I look forward to doing that and trying to figure out how to do that better.
Yeah.
And I think the only other thing that I want to mention, unless I'm going to open it back up to you, Samantha, but is why? Why is this? I want to acknowledge why this might be, and because the research is showing that it's really hard to tease out the genetic component to the what's happening within the environment. And they haven't done that successfully, but it's why we're bringing in this conversation on today one. And that is because systemic racism causes higher levels of chronic stress. It's that women of color are dealing with and coping with incredible amounts of stress in their daily lives when they don't even sometimes consciously know they're coping.
Absolutely. They're just used to it. They've been programmed that this is just normal. This is normal life. This is the reality. And luckily for me, I've got two girls who are little feminists, and they are, what's the word? Like they're out there fighting for their place. What is the word I'm looking for? I can't even think of the word. This is what happens when you're 50.
Out there. They're out there.
They're out there.
And
but
thank goodness.
Yeah. Thank goodness. And I've totally just lost my thought. And we're talking about hormones.
And we're talking about hormones. And we are going to continue to, in the conversation with Samantha and I, and bring the conversation forward. Bring it forward. Please. Bring it in our Facebook groups. Bring it forward to what we have here together, and let's keep talking about it. Now,
please, and I really do. It was very robust when everything happened last summer. With a lot of my friends, a lot of my white friends would message me and just be apologizing. It's like, okay, there's no need to apologize. I appreciate that you're acknowledging, but now what I just need to do is I just need you to talk about it, just like I am. Because like I said to you, I'm half white, so I'm still learning too. I'm still learning. I was raised by a single white female, literally, right? 17-year-old teenage mom. who didn't know anything about Black culture. And so we're all learning. So keep talking about it. Even if you don't know, ask, just ask. It's so much better to ask than to stay silent and pretend that it doesn't exist, because we know it's very prevalent. It very much exists.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, what I'm going to do now is I am going to share that we are going to we have the interview with Samantha. It is going to come toward the end of the whole series. Let me just say, total like amazingness, awesomeness. She's a personal trainer. She's oh my goodness, helps women. I don't even know my words are like stuff like went through her bio. I'm like, oh my goodness, we are so lucky to have this person who is guiding so many of us in such a powerful way, from post-pregnancy, 40 plus, focused on women and what we get to hear from her. So let me just say, come back, make sure you share it with your friends, and keep in the conversation.